Thank you all for joining our caregivers panel. My name is Ursula Mathis. I'm a consultant with the Hill Corp, and I've been working with Hill now, I guess, for about 5 years, doing various panels and traveling with them, doing those things. My background is really oncology. I served as director of oncology for a service line for many years. In my current role, I'm VP of a hospital system. And in oncology, I was and still am a real patient advocate for healthcare disparities, equality, navigation, and just advocacy for our patients and our communities and how we build those relationships with our healthcare systems and our providers. So I'm going to allow each one of our panelists to introduce ourselves. Today's conversation is going to be centered on the people who often carry the quiet weight of a cancer diagnosis or any significant diagnosis that's impairing caregivers. Our goal is to explore not just what the caregiver gives and what is required of the caregiver, but what caregivers need. Okay, so we're going to start with you. If you'll introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your journey and what lands you here.
I'm Renee McDonald. I'm a patient guest rep at Baptist Health in Little Rock. I'm the wife of Marcus McDonald, who is currently a small cell lung cancer patient, stage 4. And it's been a journey. They say a marathon, not a sprint, so it's been a marathon.
Hello, my name is Nicole Harris. I'm from Columbus, Ohio, and I'm a licensed professional clinical counselor, supervisor. And my loved one is my best friend, and she was diagnosed in 2018 with ALK positive lung cancer. And then my dad got a diagnosis in 2024 of non-small cell lung cancer as well. So I've had other family members who I've cared given for. My mom is a breast cancer survivor. My grandmother, of course, he passed in last March from vaginal cancer. So I've been caregiving for a long time in my life. So definitely glad to be able to talk with you guys today about my journey to caregiver.
Thank you all for that. In our last session, we kind of touched on the surface of your caregiver journeys with your loved ones, what your support system was, and what was the core of that support to you. So, you mentioned that most of your support came from your children, and I'm glad that you have them here today because we want to dig a little deeper into that as to what that support looked like for you, what that support looks like for your husband as the patient, from initial diagnosis to, she mentioned remission, rediagnosis, going up and down, and just a survivor, and the blessing in all of it, of course. And faith has been a big part of your journey. But talk to us, talk to them as to what did that diagnosis do to you and your family? What is it doing to you and your family? And how you navigate those waters?
Mhm. I've explained in the earlier session that it was like the diagnosis was like hitting a brick wall for us. We're always going, going, going. Family time is very important to us, and we do everything basically together. And I'm so glad that they're here today so that they can be a part of this conversation about caregiving because they were there from the diagnosis and they're still there for me. They're out of town in different areas, but anytime I need them, they're here. And anytime I can call on them, I know that they'll be there for me to help with their dad. Um, it's just been a collaboration.
That's awesome.
Collaboration. That's what I call it. Family and friends have been wonderful to us. And like I said, they gave me 3 to 6 months to live, and it's been 26 months now.
So, yes. So we see it in cancer all the time. Survival rates are higher with those that have strong support systems. Your support system really makes a big difference in the outcomes of your cancer. Support does not cure cancer, but it cures some of those ailments that come around cancers. It cures some of those sick days. It cures some of that loneliness. It cures some of the emptiness. And it just cures some of the things if you planted seeds lifelong and to get to see some of it flourish and blossom around you. So we know that it's hard to see the changes. So what would you say has been the hardest part? Even with the support system, what has been the hardest part?
With him being out of positive all the time. And so it makes me expect that I'm supposed to be positive all the time. And it's just hard to keep up with him, actually. It's hard to keep up with him because he is, if he's down, I never know he's down. You know,
That's amazing.
and he's always out there spreading the word of God, you know, trusting and believing.
Still being a vessel.
And yes, still being a vessel.
That's awesome.
And, it's just hard on me because sometimes I'm overwhelmed, you know, with concern for him. And it just gets really hard sometimes.
Okay, thank you. Nicole, tell me a little about, share a little of your journey with everyone, because then here, you know, from the beginning, then I want you to pick up on from where we left off, and I want you to talk a little bit about your friend, and now a little bit about your dad going through it.
So when my friend was diagnosed at age 44 in 2018, you can imagine just how difficult that to get that information was. And she lives in Georgia and I live in Ohio, and we've been at graduate school. So to know that my best friend, 400 miles, 600 miles away, is dealing with this diagnosis, because she also was a caregiver for her mother with dementia, was pretty devastating. And for me, I got into problem solving mode. What does she need to make sure she doesn't have a readmission? What are supplies? Who are the people? Who needs to be on this care team? Is sort of how I jumped into action. And she is 8 years in survivorship right now. It's been a blessing. And when my dad got his diagnosis in 2024, she immediately was the first person that I called. And she has actually helped guide me through some of the things with my dad, making sure he gets biomarker tested so we know exactly what we're dealing with and what is the best course of action versus just whatever professionals want to give you, right? And with my dad and my mom, it's been difficult because my grandmother was diagnosed back many years ago, but she had a recurrence. So her husband is dealing with it and her mom is in hospice. So from 2024 through now, it's been like a roller coaster. He just had a readmission last week and was stabilized and he's back home. But I've just been in this caregiving role and I just wanted to be able to be the vessel that my family needs to be able to support them through this, because it's been blow after blow. So definitely I say the support from families, friends, community is very important. It doesn't go unnoticed. I think you don't need to know that. Every card, gift, call, text message, meal on the porch, right? DoorDash is in. My grandmother was a little old school, so they would get like money in the mail and a card. Is that what, you know, somebody?
Oh, yeah.
It's really helpful. Yeah, getting those things in the mail where the flowers and said, we're just thinking of you. So it definitely helps. Caregiving does it. It's not singular. It's just not one person on that journey.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for that. So tell me a little about your healthcare teams. I know that's a big part of our support systems. Both of you said you had, immaculate experiences, good healthcare teams, and that you're very thankful for that. So tell us a little bit about how you navigated the healthcare system. Who were the essential parts of the healthcare team that you felt was essential in your journey, that was like your key point for the journey?
Once again, we have a little helping family. Yeah, my son-in-law's cousin works at UMS, and she was wonderful. And I think Ebony's an APRN. She's an APRN. And so she was there head on until she found out we came through the emergency room and kind of navigated everything throughout and got us with the best doctors and the best team. And now,
That advocate, it's always good to have an advocate.
She was extremely wonderful and took care of us the whole way. And she's still there. Every time something else develops. She's there, and any questions we have, she has the answers, and she helps us out a lot. Mhm.
Nicole?
I think one of the biggest things is my dad had some history of COVID, like many African Americans. He definitely had some remnants of COVID, and he had actually been hospitalized during COVID. So having the pulmonologist on his team, I think, was very helpful. Even with this last hospitalization, he's at the doctor and he's having shortness of breath and he can't breathe. Them immediately sending him to the ER and getting him stabilized, I think, was very important. One of the important people is the nurse navigator, which I think we talked about yesterday, but making sure that your loved one is still in contact with that nurse navigator or social worker throughout their process. I immediately texted my mom and said, does dad still have his nurse navigator involved? And she said yes. And I was able to check it through the mic chart to make sure the person was still seeing my dad. So I definitely think that is important as well. He talked about how your husband is a pastor. The chaplain at the hospital when he first got his diagnosis was very helpful as well in helping us set up those advanced directives and being able to have those conversations that maybe my dad would not have wanted to have at the time, but to be able to get things in order, I think it was very helpful. But definitely making sure that you're part of that care team to be able to go to appointments and take notes or record things, helping with coordinate transportation, or if they are having surgery, who's going to be home when they get home to support or even during the surgery. And also be able to give, you as the caregiver a break because you don't do this by yourself. They're recognizing there is help out there and people who want to help.
Thank you. I want to go back to your faith because you talked a lot about faith and you just mentioned your pastor and everything. And I want to ask some open-ended questions. And this discussion and panel can be interactive. So if you all have some questions that you want to ask, or if there's a question that is asked that you want to comment on, by all means, please participate. I don't want this to be a dictatorship, or it can be interactive when we welcome your input. But when we talk about faith, and we know that as a culture, faith is really important to us as a people. And I really like in our last session, we had a young lady in the audience who just appeared to be almost at her breaking point. And, we said, but you got to have faith, you got to have God. And, you got to put your oxygen mask on first. And she was just very transparent about it. I sleep in it, and I'm a pastor. So I know the word and I know faith, but the reality is we only need faith the size of a mustard seed, but we can have it the size of this world. And when it hits you, or it hits home, or it hits personal, you ask why.
No doubt.
We're human. We're flawed, and that's what we're going to do. So what was that moment, or I know how you keep your faith because we believe and we know that he's going to get us through it. We work our way out of it. But where do we find our spot or our moment when we in it? How does that hit us? Or when did it hit us? Or did it hit you? Or even with your husband being a pastor, as the caregiver, how do you encourage him? Because even though I know you say he stay up, we all get down. And like you said, sometimes he get angry. Sometimes, and you know that it's not him and his personality or towards you, but it's because he's in that moment of why. I've lived right. I served. I've done this. I've why?
No doubt.
Yeah, I had that question of why, and then I kept pondering on it and saying why, and then I just thought, why not me? I'm no different from all the other people. We're no different from all the people. He's not any different from anybody else. So why not us? And I know we're gonna go through trials and tribulations, and when we're in the valley, we gotta have faith.
You gotta have it.
Have faith.
Okay.
Yeah. A comment on that?
Yes.
When my wife was diagnosed, she was having the biopsy so they could make sure that's what it was. They would have some idea. And so after she did a Saturday, taking a little room at K, this is what we found. And so he took me in a little room, told me it was cancer, and showed me the stuff it was. And so the doctor wasn't the main doctor. She was still sleeping when you come out of surgery. She was still sleeping. he said, well, you're gonna have to tell your wife. I said, I'm gonna need a minute.
Right.
I'm gonna need a minute.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I went in the corner and cried, I mean, I tried to get my, you know,
Mhm.
you gotta let it out.
Right.
Don't hold it in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, don't hold it in. And so I went and cried, because I only had like, she wasn't awake yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I went and then I tried to eat, came back in, he said, well, you're gonna have to gather yourself. And so he stood there with me for a minute, and I gathered myself with it. But there's many times where I broke down
Of course.
in this journey. You're going to, you know, and so hopefully you have, you know, I have my daughter, like you have your kids. They are a big help.
Uh-huh.
If you can't lean on them, that's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I leaned on my son and my daughter. You know, we still do. She calls every day. We talk to them every day. So, but yeah, it's not easy. But I would say the biggest thing that I did, one, give it to God. You know, it's big thing, but also release it. You know, you can't hold on to it. That's too much pressure. Because it's really out of your control. I mean, you know, you control very little. You know, even with going to get scanned every 4 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever it is, that you got to wait for that decision.
Yeah, you walk in there with fear.
Right.
You're Christian, but you walk in with fear. The
So
unknown.
you're hoping and praying, you know, so you give it to God. And that's what, through my process and what I went through, is I've learned to trust God more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that is, I didn't think it was ever possible. I've been a pastor. It happened to me when I was pastoring a church, when my wife got cancer. And I trust God more. I didn't think it could happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think of me 15.
There you go.
Yeah.
My faith has increased since my dad was diagnosed. So I'm like, Lord, hey, I got to trust you. So I just went with that. I stayed positive, and he's still here. So there's nothing God can't do.
No,
So if you got faith in it, he can show you.
He can show you.
So he continues to blow my mind each and every day.
I do want to say one little thing that I've learned. I've never been to a type of council where it's all African American.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the one thing that I felt immediately when I came here is just that spiritual connection. Is that what you said? Nobody else feeling it but me. Oh, I ain't the only one. Okay, thank you. Yeah, okay.
I would say this space is curated specifically for you.
It's curated for it's intentional.
Yeah.
For you.
It's intentional.
Definitely, when you think about, you have the morning prayer, right? We have the churches that Heal connects with as well in each of the cities that they are in.
Yeah.
And being able to really provide the information. You have the sponsors who say this is important.
Yeah.
And we want to make
Just
sure
to hear.
that you get this information. This is my second time coming to Heal. Last year, right after my grandmother passing, my best friend invited me, and it was right on time. You know, they have the caregivers. They need that at every
Yeah. It's faith-based because we know that that's our trusted place and our trusted environment, and we know that we're rooted in faith. But we're not checking a box.
Right.
We're not here to check on a
Right.
box. We want this thing to be real.
Right, right.
You know, so we know that our faith wavers. We know we all fall short.
Yes, we do.
You know, and we know that this diagnosis is going to test our faith.
Oh, yeah.
Not only for us as the caregiver, but for the patient. And so the question with this panel is, how does the caregiver ride that wave and still be supportive for the patient without giving up all of the caregiver? You know, sometimes, and I work in the cancer center, y'all, I see caregivers come in strong. Patients have stage 4 cancer. The caregiver gone, the patient's still here. Because they laid it all out.
Yeah, they don't.
Till they got sick and then take care of themselves. So we don't want that to happen. We can't mentally lose it. We can't lose it faith. And we can't clinically neglect all of our appointments, all of our things, because we know that we've got to be there for our loved one. We can't let our loved one down. So how do we keep our cup full? What are some of the things that you all have done that you can make a suggestion or that you can give back in to say, this is something that I do, that I need to do, or that I have done to sustain me? Nicole, let me start with you.
One of the things that as a mental health provider and that I do is having a self-care plan. So I'm making sure that I'm eating, right? Making sure that I'm hydrated, making sure that I have some type of movement. So if it's walking, stretching, doing something that gets my body to do. Making sure that I have some type of joy. And it's hard. This is not easy, but recognizing that we talked about our faith, like I'm walking in faith, right? Not by sight, right? But by faith. I know that my steps are ordered. I was built for this, right? And so having some connection and community, I think, is important as well. You're not alone, and I cannot say that enough. He'll made me recognize that my parents were not alone in this. You know, even though they're not here this year, but I want to get them next year because I'm proclaiming my dad will be healed. Absolutely. So self-care for yourself is important.
And that's true. Learning mental health is real. It's real. And stress can cause all parts of your body to fail. And I know that's a true thing because it's been happening to me. No energy. I used to have all the energy in the world, but low energy now. And I know it's because I'm stressed out most of the time. And my daughters, they fuss at me, Mama, you need to get to walking. You need to do like you used to, the exercise plan. You need to eat, you need to drink, you need to do this. And, you know, they always have good advice. And sometimes I take it. Sometimes I don't have time, I'm just tired. But yeah, it's stress is a battle. It's a battle, and you have to do things for yourself. And I got up this morning, I went to the prayer session, I went to the exercise session, I got my massage at the caregivers, and I feel so good today. I got energy and everything. So
Yes. Question:
I truly think it works, and I'm gonna try and do better. Do better.
Good. That's what this is about. Have either of you or anyone in the audience that is a caregiver tried support groups? Has it been effective? Is it easier to talk to a room full of strangers that have some like situations and quality than it is sometimes family members who know all the gritty, details? You want to share your experience with that?
I am a caregiver.
Yes.
I was a caregiver.
Uh-huh.
My daughter passed away. She was diagnosed in 2018, at the end of 2018. She turned 50 in May and got this diagnosis. I am the oldest of my parents' 11 children. And my mom was still alive at the time. When she lived in I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but I live on the West Coast. But I was in the country because I could get out of the country. When I was in the country getting my visa renewed, when I got the information that my daughter had stage 4 lung cancer, non-smoker, non-drinker, and she was like, we're on the phone. I'm in California and she's in Arizona, and she says, Mommy, I thought I had a sore back because my daughter is very healthy. She pines and hikes. There's a mountain in Arizona called Camelback, and I thought it was her boyfriend because she's always on that mountain. So my daughter was a journalist. Up and down, up and down. I got on that mountain one time, and that was one time too many for me. And I told her, I said, look, I said, are you sure of this diagnosis? I said, because you said your back hurt. And she said, this is what he's telling me. And she's in the office.
Right.
So I was like, okay. So of course I hopped the plane, and that was 8 years ago. I'm starting the 8th year now. And I went to Arizona, and her community, because she was a newscaster, and her community thought she was having an affair with the mountain also. She had gotten so thin, and they wanted her to stop, But to make a long story short, her dentist, who did work on her mouth in the spring of 2018, when she came back in September, he said, something's going on with you, because internally, something's going on. Your mouth is not on.
Right.
And I say that because I have 9 brothers and sisters still alive who all have false teeth.
Mm-hmm.
I know. And I tell them, I don't know why, but I attribute it to the fact that I tell everybody I'm a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
We all look alike, but I'm a doctor.
Miss your calling too.
She and I, when we sat in front of the doctor, I was a nurse too. So when we sat in front of the doctor, of course, I know the questions to ask.
Right.
And having to know that biomarkers was a new thing,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And she went and she had a biopsy done. The very thing that Dr. Ramsey talked about this morning, she had that. And so when she came out of there, and she, like he said with his wife, you know, I'm already in it, because this is 2 weeks now that I've been here with her. But when she came out of it, she looked at me and she said, Mommy, am I going to die? And I looked at her and I said, you know what, Sally? Her name's Danielle. I call her Sally. I said, you know what, Sally? I said, we all will eventually die. I said, here's the deal with this. The inevitable is you're gonna die, because it was stage 4, right off the top. It was in her shoulder, her pelvis, and her spine.
It metastasized.
Yeah, well, it was in her bones, that's all it was. She never got short of breath, never nothing. She was 94 pounds when I got here, when I got to Arizona. She was 94 pounds, but she was breathing fine and everything, but she was in pain. And the pain is in her phone. And I told her, I said, it's inevitable, being real. I said, but we don't know when. So here's what we're gonna do. She just passed January 26th. And I told her, even with her knowing that she was dying, we had her brother and his wife come every 3 weeks from California. We had my baby girl. Yes, I had a change of life baby. I told my husband it wasn't right. But she just turned 36. And she gave up her apartment on the East Coast and came to live with us so that we could take care of her, because we weren't going to let her go into hospice or a hospital. She did have hospice and palliative care because I in all that, right?
Yeah.
So that whole community did this, so that it wasn't just me. We had DoorDash, we had all these things come, but people are there for you. Family that helps, problem.
Yes.
Because family that helps, that's what you need. It's called nose to grindstone. You know who real friends are, but your family's always there regardless of anything. My son and his wife, my daughter, were there. But the community, because she was a comedian also, playing comic, they went crazy. So I have these pens on. One of her comedy friends took it, had the pens made, and every time any of the comics gave a show, they had them sitting out on the table for a donation, and we sell music money.
Did you all form a actual support group while you were there? And you okay?
Yes, we did.
Very
She
good.
was with legislation. She was on the cancer board. She was on another board that had cancer, that fed cancer people that were receiving cancer, which she now became part of that.
So what would be one of the things that someone that's newly going through this, getting this diagnosis, not a nurse,
Right.
don't know the questions to ask,
Right.
their baby, your instant spouse, loved one, get that diagnosis and they ask you that question? I know it's hard to say what you would have said, what you should say, but how do you navigate that without the average person? Because that's the hardest part that I see in the healthcare industry. If I go, or if I take my mother, if I take my child, I know what to ask. I'm going to dig. I know what to save the order. I know this, that, and the other. If you don't want to do it, move out. I'll do it. I got that. But so often, so many come in that don't know,
Right.
and they don't have anybody that do.
Right.
So what do we say to those?
For us, for my daughter and I, because she was, suffering,
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knew what was going on with her.
Mm-hmm.
So what they did was have her and one of her co-hosts put it out there on the news station. Because it then that
So sharing
she
information.
shared her information.
Yeah.
And then as she continued to get well, she would share at the end of her comedy set
Mm-hmm.
with the community.
That's a key component because we are private people,
Oh, yeah.
Caring is caring.
but we private about all the wrong stuff. We private about all the wrong stuff. Now we'll talk about some nonsense and that go on and on and on and on and on.
Filter out.
But I mean, and we even private when it comes to our inner families. You'll be surprised at people that come in that don't know their family histories, that don't know what type of cancers they have, what diseases for us, hypertension. But because we don't talk, and we got to break that, we got to dispel that myth. We got to break that from generation to generation. If we're going to beat these diseases, if we're going to be able to care for you properly, we got to have conversations with the people that we love. And it can't be their first time hearing it when they're coming to take care of us and for us. So I want to speak to your kids for a moment, if you don't mind. And I want to know how did this affect you all? When you all first heard this diagnosis, when you stepped into your caregiver role, and how do you support your mother in that role? Anyone? Take your turn. Take your pick.
Oh, well, so we just try to remain a positive, and stay prayed up and realize that, all we have is today. So I'm trying to ask up today.
Okay.
Yeah, you get to looking forward, trying to figure out what God's gonna do next if you miss the moment. So we have to stay in the moment, like right now, and make the best of what we have right now.
So tell me how y'all got to that moment. Yeah, y'all know I'm going deeper. I want the real. I get that because we all there. We all wonder. We going. We on our way.
Yeah, I think
The lights on. But how you get there?
so when our dad first got diagnosed, like we were upset,
Right.
questioning, like our question God, you get frustrated, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think for us, it's being very transparent and real. So I heard you talk about like being open.
Yes.
So our family is very open.
That's a blessing.
Really
That's
big
good.
family from both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And so just like being honest and like this is the diagnosis. We are fortunate to be able to ask those questions
Mm-hmm.
to be in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think different moments have different emotions.
Of course.
And you have
Of course.
to recognize those,
Right.
those emotions.
Mhm.
So frustration may be one moment, but I can't stay in frustration.
And he had everybody at different
At different
times.
times, right?
Yeah.
So they always joke, they're like, you never cry. I'm always the bossy one, I guess. And so, but I do have my moments, right?
Right,
But
of
I
course.
also, like, we're the siblings, but we have support,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, like, this is my husband, but I also have in-laws that my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, like, they're at the hospital too, right?
Mhm.
We have a big community.
It's a village.
Yeah, it's a true village.
Mhm.
And I think just I remember something my daddy said, like he got the diagnosis, he was like, we're all there, he's like, oh, but I'm gonna choose to live. And so again,
Uh-huh.
it's like 3 to 6 months, but it's been what 26 months,
Right.
And so like he always talks about choosing joy.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, like you're like, okay, joy, whatever. But like we made this a whole big trip, right?
Right, right.
And so it's like celebrating each day.
Every
That
moment,
doesn't mean
yes.
every day is easy.
No.
It
Right.
just means like you have to make a conscious choice to choose it.
I
And to
love it.
recognize like, all right, I'm not having a good day, but I'm gonna sleep tomorrow, another day.
This too shall pass.
And
Right.
something else I wanted to share is like, I have a 12-year-old and an 8-year-old. My sister has 7 and 6. But like, we are very honest with our boys. Like, they know that Papa is sick,
Mhm.
but they also, my oldest son said, what did he say?
So that
Yeah, no days off. He's like, Papa, no days off.
I
And,
love it.
he's in middle school and he's like very serious, like, okay, you sick, whatever, you got a new spot, no days off. Like,
Mhm.
this is coming from a 12-year-old, but that's what
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, we teach our kids grade active sports.
Mhm.
So we're all time making sure grades come first. We tell them we have a busy schedule. And so no days off, and they're telling it to their papa, no days off.
No days off. That's awesome. That's beautiful. So, let's get back over here to our panel, and with you, Nicole, and your friend, and the distance. That I know that that's hard. How do you? Cause you guys have been friends, and you say you know your friends, so you can tell on a phone call. She don't have to say I'm having a bad day. You can just say it, hello, I'm having a bad day. So how do you gather yourself and support that, or how do you prevent yourself from every time you hear that jumping on a plane? Cause that has to be.
I got in the car. And absolutely, when she got her diagnosis, I literally got in my car and drove from Ohio. It's 8 hours to Atlanta, and spent the week with her, helping her get the things that she needed when she first got the diagnosis. Definitely, we I call it professional hangout. You know, FaceTime. We at Target together. She texts me when she gets her scans, when she meets with her people, either in person or telehealth. They were a big part of my support when I was in graduate school in Atlanta, and they became my family. So it's no ask. I know there's a couple of times where since I am a mental health therapist, I might be seeing clients, you know, but she will text me and I'll say, I'm about to call you back. I got you. I think part of it is just knowing that you are holding that space for your loved one. And we don't always have to be positive either, but knowing that when they say, like, my cup is not running, overflowing, like, I got you. I got you, because I have the space to be able to do that.
Right.
And I think, you know, I like that no days off.
I like that too.
No days off for me to be available for her. You know, my dad and my mom checking on them, but definitely. I've been there for surgery, you know, post-surgery. You know, you got this coming up. You know, if it's a conference, I'm going to be there to make sure that she gets around. You know, I know it's not easy for them to come and travel from across the country and then immediately be at a conference, you know, so letting her know she can take her time today. You know, we don't want a real surface. We don't have them out there. You can at least take a shower and stretch, you know, take all your meds, all the things that they have to do to make sure that they are comfortable while they're here.
Okay.
So it's like, I've not been off, but I'm okay to, you know, be here for her.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a blessing. So, anyone else in the audience would like to share their story? We have a caregiver in the audience. You have any questions? The floor is open for questions from the audience. If you would like to ask myself as a healthcare professional, as Nicole said, that she's a caregiver, but she also behavioral health, and then we have a true caregiver. Not that you're a false caregiver. I don't mean true in that, but we have a caregiver whom, you know, her life partner has been diagnosed, but has a huge support system, and the support system is what makes it. So if anyone has any other input, or we have a question that you all would like to ask me, yes.
The first question is, how do you overcome the guilt factor when you're, you know, sometimes you get like, those days when you get overwhelmed and you need to learn, you got to sing or two. You keep your other family members and try to make you feel guilty for taking the break. And what do you tell them? Like, you know, not being rude. You know, let them know, hey.
Nicole, I'm gonna let you take that one, and then we'll get back to you. I'm sorry.
For me, I feel like it's, you know, there's no reason to have any guilt. I think part of it is maybe learning to set boundaries with people, emotional and physical boundaries, right? You do deserve a break, and it's okay to need a break. And I need you to help me on that break. So what capacity do you have to help me? If you can't help me, I can find someone else who is ready to step in, right? And help me help my, you know, my person, my loved one. What was the other question?
Second question is, okay, it's for like other family members. Again, maybe try to take their break, and they're trying to make you feel like I want to take a break from them. I got this thing still. They kind of say, they talk about what they have to do, and, you know, and you like, I have a life too, y'all.
So I see a lot with that, like she said, you got to set boundaries, and sometimes we as caretakers, especially if we live in a home and the other families don't go home, we go in doing everything. So then we make people feel like they don't need us and you got it and you can do everything. But when these diagnoses start, those when family meetings should start as to this is our journey and our choice that we are going to take care of our loved one. Now I'm here, but this is what I'm going to need from you all to be able to do this.
And delegation.
It's boundaries.
Delegation.
It's communication, but you can't wait till you get there because sometimes they're blinded by the fact that you need help because you do it so effortless. And it seemed like y'all got it. It's like, oh, daddy on his schedule, he taking his medicine. They went to the doctor today, they doing good. And you drowning, you can't breathe. But you make it look so easy. So we can't be on our last breath before we ask for the oxygen meds. You know, we can't.
I think delegation, give everybody a job.
Yep.
When my
And a day.
was sick, rotating. I took her to chemo every Tuesday. My sister's a teacher. She met me, and I'm going to see my clients in the afternoon. Like, that's still my job. Like, I will not be there. We are having some of the most difficult times in our life. We're supposed to show up. We're not affected, right? No, it's a boundary I set with my job. I can still get my job to COVID. Let me know that. I'm not going to be anywhere anymore. So I'm going to be at the hospital with my grandmother, with my dad, while he is getting tests completed, and I'll make sure I complete my time. Really, delegation. Who's going to do the appointments? Who's going to do the shopping? We delegated. We sent my grandmother's laundry out at first. I mean, at secondly, because we're like, she can't be doing this. We're not going to be doing this. We sent our laundry out, right? You know, who's going to pick up the prescriptions? You know, all of those things. You know, who's going to sit with her at night? Or if I have a client, I'm going to make a room in her back room and did my clients while she was, you know, getting her back from home health. But really, delegation, I think, is one of, but also knowing that, you know, beautiful girl, you can do hard things, right? And you've been doing hard things, right? That's what I tell people I see, but also people that I care about. Beautiful girl, you can do hard things. We do them all the time. And recognizing that you deserve space, right? Your capacity may be low, but making sure the things that you are doing are, your cup is full first. And if your cup is not full, what do you need to, you know, on the self-care plan? It sounds like you need to get some more support and help, right? And then being able to say, if this family member is not the person who was in the circle of the village or on the team,
Build your village.
can help with this. And then when you get it delegated, and they'll be saying, well, how did that work out? Well, I had such and such. And they might feel some type of way because someone else stepped in. Or they may have guilt now because they didn't feel it, right?
And most of the time, I don't know whether I'm teasing my family or if I'm just losing it, but I'll let them know, look, I'm only here because of the children and the grandchildren. And they know when I get to that point, we done
It's time.
It's
time.
42 years for y'all.
All the time. Grandchildren.
Yeah, the children and the grandchildren. That's why I'm there, working hard at it.
Any other questions or audience input? Yes,
I apologize for coming here late.
it's okay.
I am definitely a caregiver. Whether I wanted to be or not, I found myself in that role probably half of my life, the 57 years. And the speaking up, having the hard conversations, and have brothers, my siblings are boys. So I'm my little brother, and they don't, you know, and they're men. Not all men, but the two that I have, they don't. And let's get this understood. I can't read mine, I'm not Dionne Warwick's cousin.
Right,
I need you to help me help you.
right.
And if I can't do it, then I can then outsource it and find someone else. But I just received a kidney 8 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago.
Right.
And thank God, to God be the glory. However, and he's 6'3", but his fiance couldn't lift him because she has back problems. My nieces are very petite. They're adults, but they're petite. So I'm a guy, and my mom is disabled. So okay, here we come again, guys. What are we doing? I'm verbal and vocal about what I can and can't do.
fighting with them, as she said,
Mhm.
we got to have hard conversations.
Yeah, crucial conversation.
Teach your mind, but I can help you
Mm-hmm.
if you allow me to. You gotta let me in.
Right.
And then I let them know. I said, it hurts me when you don't because it scares me.
Mhm.
I said, I should never have to go to a hospital and find out. And she said, at the end, I'm blindsided because
Right.
of things the doctors looking at us like, yes, I'm now this. And I'm embarrassed. And it's, I'm like, well, he's the dusty, rusty, and brown. No, he didn't want us to know.
Right.
You know, so it's
Right.
And
Right.
for me, it's about saying what it is in that
Me
moment.
too.
Look, you can get your feelings hurt later. That's because at the end of the day, I ended with this. You know I love you to life and back.
Right.
I'm not God though, and I'm not your source. I'm one of your resources.
Resources.
I'm one of, and I will do my part to the best of my capability and ability. And I always try to think of this: if that were me,
Right.
if that were me, because I'm single with no children. So I try to spread it out and put out the seeds out here because I don't know what can happen to me. And I hope that my brother's children will come and get T-shells.
Right.
So it's a lot of communicating and being honest, being with yourself first. Like, and then telling them, I'm scared. I don't want
Yes.
you here. You're my way free the hard way.
Mhm.
I don't want you to go before you. We all have to go. Make sure that we all have to leave here. Well, we don't have to leave here prematurely. Otherwise, we can afford. If we can do better, let's do
Do
better.
better. When you know better, you do better. Right. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else?
Wanted to know, how do you handle family conflict, particularly in interacting with the medical community over treatment plans or, if it was disciplining the family caregivers? How do you navigate that?
So when you say family conflict, you're speaking in terms of the family doesn't agree with the choice of the regimen or the choice of the treatment plans and options?
Yes, in terms of helping the individual to make that choice, and everyone has may have different opinions, and how do you emphasize all that?
You can, so first of all, you got to deal with facts and information. Facts is facts, data is data. Everybody don't necessarily believe in the science, but gather the facts, whether you want to believe in them or not. Get the information on the clinical trial. Find out about the drugs. Knowledge is power. Don't make decisions based on, well, Uncle so-and-so had it and he took that and this happened. Each cancer is personalized. Each disease works a little different. Everybody's genes a little different. So you got to get all the facts and put them on the table and have unfiltered dialogue and open conversation with your family. And really, the bickering should stop once the patient decides this is the route that they want to take. Because that's their decision, their life. Now, I'm not saying if they say, I don't want to do it, you don't try to persuade them. If you do this, you got this percentage chance to live, but you do it with facts. We can't operate in fear. We can't operate in anger. And sometimes we push faith as fear. Sometimes we push previous experiences and other people, things that have happened as fear. But we always try to tell families, let's gather the facts. Ask as many questions as you want. Take as much time as you want. Don't get pressured into doing this. But make decisions based on facts and make them collectively. And everybody that wants to be involved can be involved. It's open communication. But once the patients decide that this is what I want to do, then everybody should be on board. And those that are not need to step aside.
Very well said.
Yeah.
Then you need to put it in writing, while you make a sound mind, say how you want to go.
Yeah,
Who you
that's
want to
true.
make you decision,
Exactly.
whether you want to be resuscitated or not.
That's right.
Don't wait till you can't.
A living
talk
will
about
is
it.
important.
That's every.
A living will is important. Yeah.
Whether you want to go through it or not, you got to do it. I had to.
Right.
Everyone should have one. While you're healthy, you need a living will. A living will is important. It's very important in the healthcare industry. If you don't have a living will, they're going to try to resuscitate everybody.
Are they all? I didn't know that.
They are, regardless if you don't have a living will. But having one takes it a step further for you.
Yes, it does.
And having one also delegates who you want to make that next decision for you.
Wire it up.
Just not
Because all your children are not created equally. All of them don't believe equally. You all could have grown up in the same house, had the same faith, and I went off on the deep end somewhere. Or I'm persuaded by my spouse, which is different from what your beliefs are. You know? Have a living will so that your wishes are followed through.
Yeah.
And it's not in concrete, it's in writing, but it can change. But everyone has to have a living will. That's the only way that you guarantee your wishes are followed. And that it makes it easier for your caretaker to care for you based upon your wishes.
Yes. Yes.
So many people in the healthcare industry are walking around today, have strokes tomorrow, and they've never had that conversation with their people, and they're never verbal again. Think about that.
True.
They've never had that conversation with their children, their loved one, whether they want to live a quality of life or whether they want to live this life. That's a hard decision to live on somebody.
By 4 or 5 months ago, we got a call. Sharice Davies' sister had got, we don't know how long, but she got breast cancer, and she chose not to take any treatment. You know, she chose not to do. So I don't know what we didn't. She didn't go into great detail with us about it. She just said that she's choosing not to go through any treatment. And she passed away 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
Yeah. Now,
And that was her personal choice.
That's her personal choice. We
That
said
was
we
her
pray for
personal choice.
you, and is there anything we can do? But I didn't get into, do this, do that, But it was her choice, like you said. You
It's
just
her
gotta
personal
be.
choice.
Well, we're here for you. Whatever you need
Yeah.
us to do, whatever you need from us.
Well,
we're here.
and that's how you
That's
support.
we handled it.
That's how you
She told us
support.
she didn't
That's
wanna-
what support is.
Yeah,
That's what support
right,
is.
Exactly. Whatever when she decided it, we left it as that.
I have a cousin now that is actually newly diagnosed. She calls me 2 or 3 times a week, and my nickname is Lady, so she called me Lady the day they said such. But initially, she didn't want to do anything. But she was like, I have faith. I know that he gonna heal me. I'm gonna put this castor oil on here. I'm gonna do this. I say, listen, let me say this. I don't denote that because I've seen it happen. God has. I'm telling y'all, I have seen people come to the cancer center and they have a mass. They come back in a month, they have their surgery and the mass gone. So I ain't saying it can't happen.
Right.
But I'm saying the majority of the time.
Yeah, right.
Right. Right.
Okay? So I told her, I said, use all those regimens that you want to use. That's fine. Keep the appointments. Go get the information. Hear what they have to say. Get the regimens. Before you get started, get the test done again. If it's still there, God has spoken. Use the resources that He provided because they're telling you this thing curative. If it's still there, He's spoken. Use the resources that He's provided for us. Pray for the hands that are going to touch you.
Right, exactly.
And follow the regimen that He's put in place. He's giving you the provisions. Now, if you go back in His hill, He done did His thing. Do your dance and say thank you, see y'all later. So she's agreed to take that course. But whatever she decides to do, because she's telling me now, okay, I'm still going to do this, but you're right, when you go, I'm just going to do this. She's informed. And that's what you need. You got to have facts. You got to have information. You got to be informed. But you got to support them regardless of which way they decide to go. Right, wrong, or indifferent, you have to support them. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
How do you tell your family that, right? It's your caregiver that you have work. You work and give everything, right? Because sometimes some family members, just get an account often because I'm a professional caregiver. They think I have no words. I can understand like them, caregiver. I mean, I enjoy caregiving because that's it's my heart that I care for people. It's a natural thing for me, and for family members think I'm not successful enough. No, and most of that was successful because I care to you. But the to understand that that's an honor. It's an honor thing to the caregiver.
That takes me to my closing remarks.
Yes.
Caregiving is one of the most profound expressions of love
Thank you.
and the largest, most successful
Yes.
occupation without a degree.
Thank you.
Often quiet, often unseen, often underlooked, often insignificant in other eyes, but the task is unimaginable. For those who continue the journey and for those who carry both love and loss in the presence, you mattered. And you've done your assignment and you've done it well. You mattered. You've done your assignment and you've done it well.
Yeah.
You matter.
Perfectly said.
I appreciate you all. Thank you. I have a small, thank you. Thank you. I have a small token of my appreciation for you all participating in the caregivers panel. My daughter's Raven's gonna have them at the door. I have a keychain for you. They said that you've made a difference in someone's life, and thank you for all that you do. And a bag that I would like for you all to carry with you. Thank you so much, friends.